Yo, they call me Dank, the lyrical titan. Stepping in the ring, spitting fire, igniting. From the square circle to the booth, I'm dominant. Unbreakable spirit, call me the king, I'm prominent. Beyond the barricade, the podcast bumping. Real talk, no gimmicks, ain't no time for slumping. Grinding day and night, always something to prove. Elevating the game, that's the Dank move. Check 1, 2, this ain't no illusion. Dropping truth bombs, causing a commotion. From the canvas to the charts, I'm climbing. Champion mindset, always shining. Resolute, run deep, instilled the fight. Never back down, always standing upright. In the ring or on the track, same intensity. Delivering knockout blows lyrically. 1, 2, this ain't no illusion. Dropping truth bombs, causing a commotion. From the canvas to the charts, I'm climbing. Champion mindset, always shining.
Welcome to Beyond the Barricade. I'm your host, Papa Dank, and Sicw week concludes with the dastardly Stephen E. How you doing, Stephen?
Papa Dank, I'm doing great, but you know what? That introduction does not suit me well. I am not dastardly. I'm not nefarious. I am somebody that each and every one of these these young listeners should aspire to be like. I am independently wealthy. I am somebody that you might look up and say he is a role model because of his successes. I once had a gentleman tell me that I live in a rap video, and I just couldn't agree with him more. But no, I'm not nefarious. I'm not a bad guy. I am a role model for the youth of this generation.
A role model. Now, before we get let's start out with FanFest 3 before we get into some other stuff.
Gosh, man,
Your thoughts on FanFest?
Man, FanFest 3 is setting itself up to be the premier like FanFest con, WrestleCon, whatever in the area. I mean, when you think about it, when you look at some of the names that we're going to have at this event, you got Teddy Long, you've got Sabu, Tito Santana, Rock and Roll Express, Patricia Summerlin, who has an absolute just inspiring story, man. I was lucky enough to hear her talk at Cauliflower Alley a couple of years ago, and it's really inspiring. But Kevin Von Erich, you've got Greg Valentine, Gangrel, Brutus Beefcake, the Boogeyman. I mean, it's gonna be something else, man. And not only do you get to enjoy the fest, you get to watch my main man Attila Khan pick apart that former 2-time AIWF world champion Golden Boy Greg Anthony, and not only will he be picking him off, I hear that downtown Bruno is going to be in the corner of the Golden Boy Greg Anthony. So if that is the case, in fact, he better mind his business and he better not look my way. He better not take a step near me, because if he does, I've got something for him.
Whoa, that looks like that can hurt.
Yeah, you can ask a couple of people. They'll confirm that it in fact does hurt.
All right. Now, last year when we talked, you were in the process of trying to acquire Sicw. It didn't go as planned, though, right, Stephen?
No, it didn't go as planned. I put together a formidable crew of men that I thought could get the job done. Those men being the Faces of Death, Haku, Barbarian, and none other than Attila Khan. And we took on Sicw's merry men, and it didn't work out in our favor. The investors are still there, so they understand that Rome wasn't built in a day. That sometimes getting deals done takes a little bit longer, and they have extended their gratitude, and they're being very patient. So we'll see where it goes in the future. But the FanFest is going to be something else, man. Hopefully this year we will be able to do what we've done in the past, and that is win. Last year, everybody knows we walked away with the Bruiser Broder Memorial Cup Battle Royal. And man, that was something else. It was a highlight of my career to have Barbara Goodish, the ex-wife, the widow of Bruiser Brody come in and present that trophy to my man Attila Khan. It was great. And what we did with that trophy is we put that thing in a box and we shipped it DHL to Saudi Arabia, because my investors, they wanted to see that. They just wanted to be proud. They wanted to show the people some of what we're doing over here and let them know that although it's taking a little bit of time, we are making steps to taking over SICW.
Wait a minute. You shipped that to the Saudis?
Of course I did. They were the ones that were financing a lot of what was going on prior to FanFest. So of course I wanted them to be able to memorialize that, and I sent it over there to them. And from what I understand, they put it in one of their big temples down there and put it on display for 1 week, for 7 days. It was kind of like 7 days of mourning, but 7 days of gratitude to Stephen E.
All right. Now, Robert says he would like to see you wear red, white, and blue. Arad said, Steve.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. You know, I actually like the white and red. You know, it really sets the tone.
So what do the investors ask of you nowadays? Now that the takeover of SICW failed, like, what do they ask you?
Well, where are the investors? The investors understand, like I said earlier, Papa Dank, they know that Rome, it took more than a day to build Rome. You know, they know that something is grand as SICW. I was being a little naive, to be honest with you, thinking that Herb Simmons was going to just let me purchase that. In fact, you know, I think that I made a lot of headway with Herb Simmons, and there's one thing that I did not take that I took for granted, that I didn't take into consideration, was the fact that Herb listens to the fans so much. You know, Herb is such a well-liked guy in that area. They didn't want me to have anything to do with SICW, and I truly think that had he not listened to the fans of SICW, the ones that don't matter, you know, if he wouldn't have listened to them, that we would have already picked up SICW and moved it at this point. You know, we would have moved it. I had already had intentions of taking it to Dubai and letting the good people of Dubai see what SICW was all about, see what all of our hard work and all of the money that they were giving to me was what I was attempting to purchase.
Now, would you have gone as well with Attila?
Well, I would have taken Attila over there, and you know, I'm not going to lie. Whenever I step off of the plane in Dubai, I am instantly treated like a prince. You know, I am such a respected man over there. You know, if you look into the sports clips and the articles that they write on professional wrestling over there, I am revered as a deity to the people over there. They absolutely love Stephen E. They love what I stand for. They love what I'm about, and they love what I'm capable of doing to people whenever I need to.
And where does Lilith fall into all this?
Lilith falls into this. She is Attila Khan's daughter. You know, she's 6'5". We call her the spawn of Khan. You know, she's my Lilith. That's who she is. She's my Lilith, and she does what I tell her to do. You know, she knows that in our culture in the Middle East, in Dubai, that the women are supposed to walk 5 feet behind the men. That she's supposed to be covered, and she does that. And she's such a good Lilith. There's no better out there. She listens to everything I say. And you know, a year ago, if I was to say something along the lines to, let's just say, a female performer or a female wrestler, then I would have been looked at like a fool. You know, but now if that female wrestler decides to step up and say something to me, well, guess what? She's going to have to contend with Lilith Khan. Lilith Khan doesn't let no lady talk to me like I'm some type of second-class citizen. She takes care of business, and she does what I want her to do.
Now, is there some contenders for Lilith? I know she's been performing a lot more in the ring.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Every time she does perform, she always calls me and she talks to me and she asks me for advice and asks me what I can do, especially whenever it's at a place that I can't be there. You know, Lilith is in demand everywhere. She's in her short career. She has wrestled in, I want to say, 5 or 6 states, which is really, 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 really saying a lot for her. She's very in demand. So, you know, there's places that I just won't go to. But we want her to get that experience.
Such
And
as what? What places won't you go to?
I don't like Arkansas. I absolutely despise Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes, Arkansas. I despise Arkansas. I despise Oklahoma. I despise Kansas. I despise Tennessee. I despise everywhere that isn't SICW.
So pretty much the whole United States.
Well, there's some good ones out there, but SICW. When you look at the product that SICW has, I mean, it's something else. It's
It's
phenomenal.
really good. I
Yeah,
agree.
you've got world stud athletes like Peyton Ayers, Mr. As Seen on TV Peyton Ayers. I don't know if you knew this, Papa Dink, but he actually was casted in The Rock. And I'm just going to say this. I think that Dwayne Johnson went on record to say that show wouldn't have been the same had he not played D'Lo Brown in that show. You heard it from me. You heard it from me first.
Okay. What about New York? I would like to see you out here in New York with
Well,
Attila and Lilith.
yeah, New York is fine. New York is fine. I don't mind New York. New York's beautiful. I used to carry a residence in New York at the upper East End of Manhattan, but I went ahead and let that go. That apartment was
Right.
not cheap, so I went ahead and let that go so I could focus on trying to secure SICW, and that didn't work out. But right now, I'm currently making my residence in Missouri.
Okay. Now I think you upset Serena over here. What Arkansas? Well, guess what? Arkansas doesn't like you.
No, I don't care what Arkansas. I don't care if Arkansas likes me or not. Anytime I show up in Arkansas, they're lucky to see me. They're lucky to even be able to interact with me. But I do my best to try to stay out of that.
Well, I mean, we got friends at in Arkansas, like TNR Wrestling's down there
Yeah, where's TNR Wrestling at?
in Arkansas.
Well, what part of Arkansas?
Leechville.
See, never heard of it. Never heard Bleachville?
Leechville.
Oh, Leechville. Oh, yeah. Sounds like somewhere I want to go,
Robert says you would get hurt wearing that in New York.
Oh, I would not get hurt wearing this in New York, my friend. I would not get hurt wearing this in New York. You see, this right here, when you see somebody wearing this right here, you immediately respect them.
Uh-huh.
You look at them and you think to yourself, like, that is not somebody that I want to mess with. So I don't care how tough people think they are in New York. If I walk down the street, everybody would come up and want my autograph. They would want to talk to me. They would want pictures, and I wouldn't give it to them.
You want to give it to them?
Absolutely not. Well, it depends. I mean, if there's somebody up there who's got a WrestleCon or something like that, if somebody wants to get VIP packages, I think I can start them out at about $250, $300 a pop, and we can work from there.
Whoa, Robert! Whoa.
Oh, Robert.
He said the B word.
Oh, Robert.
Even Serena's shocked.
Yes. I'm appalled. I thought that this was going to be a good Muslim broadcast, that we would refrain from using foul language like that.
Well, why would you think this would be a good Muslim broadcast?
Well, because I know that the FCC is probably going to tune in and want to know why this thing is spiking. You're going to get a lot of views from people in the Middle East watching this right here. It's just the way that it is.
Oh man, Steven, you just like SICW didn't go your way, neither did trying to acquire the 23-6 championship.
Well, I tell you what, May 16th and 17th, hopefully you're going to be there in St. Louis, because if you are, I might send Attila Khan to go acquire that 23-6 championship, or maybe Peyton Ayers. I might even send Lilith Khan. You never know. And then just when you think that you've seen them all, guess what? I'm going to ship over the Uber Destroyer, Germany's favorite export. Oh, he's so great. Yeah, are you familiar with the Uber Destroyer?
I'm not, but he sounds kind of rough.
When you're done with this podcast right here, do yourself a favor. Everybody listening, do yourself a favor. Go in, type in the Uber Destroyer professional wrestling on YouTube, and pull it up and watch this kid. This kid is just bad to the bone, and he aligned himself with me.
I'm gonna pull it up now. Wait, I get Uber Eats. Is that him?
Are you kidding me, Papa Dank? Are you kidding me? You sound like you're in a
No?
TV. You sound like you're at a TV taping in East Cronolette with that. They try to do that stuff to him and tell him Uber Eats or whatever.
We'll have to
And
look at it later.
yeah. No, don't look that up. Don't worry about that. Just that kid is a beast. He is a beast, and he's got my back. That's the great thing about it.
Like literally has your back?
Literally has my back. If anybody looks at me wrong, all I have to do is look over at Uber and just give him and he doesn't even ask questions. He goes straight to work. That's right. But yeah, Papa Dank, let's talk about.
Sound like it's a good thing I'm not going. Yeah.
Oh, you're not going this year?
I can't make it this year, unfortunately.
Oh, well, that's too bad. That's too bad. Well, maybe we can figure some way how to so we could get that title off you remotely. Like maybe we'll do like a I'm like 25-0 when it comes to like wrestling trivia. So if you ever want to put that thing on the line, wrestling trivia wise, we can go ahead and do that. I usually win. In fact, I've never lost. But yeah. What's going on in SICW? Did you? I know you've had a couple of the superstars.
I did.
A new heavyweight champion.
I did. Bobby D.
Bobby D. I don't know how that happened. Whose butt did he have to kiss to get that title? That thing right there. I watched the match.
He won it fair and square.
Fair and square. Are you kidding me? It looked like he threw a banana on the gosh dang floor out there. It looked like. Kowalski literally tore his kneecap because Bobby D cheated somehow and squirted water on the ground or something like that and caused him to slip and he tore his knee and it's horrible. It's horrible.
My goodness.
Yeah. There you got Bobby. Now Bobby D is a targeted man. Bobby D has the classic heavyweight championship. And I tell you what, Attila Khan, former 2-time classic heavyweight champion, he is itching. He is itching for some championship gold. And you never know if you show up to an SICW show, you might look and see Attila Khan versus Bobby D.
Give everybody some history. How long has SICW been around?
Gosh, SIC 50 to 52 years Herb's been promoting. I think SICW, I feel like SICW's been around since 75, but Herb's been promoting for a number of years longer than it's been around. It's got a lot of history, A lot of history. A lot of people have come through the entranceway at SICW. It wasn't but maybe 2 years ago that Attila Khan beat the brakes off of Nick Aldis, WWE general manager, I think is what he is. But yeah, Attila beat the brakes off of him. We had Haku and Barbarian down in November. We had Bob Orton down, last year at the Fan Fest, of all the people that you could see, Randy Orton was there to induct his dad into the St. Louis Hall of Fame. And that's going to be something else, they're inducting Ron Powers into the Hall of Fame. And, that's going to be pretty exciting. I know that Ron has a very storied history in the St. Louis area. And from what I understand, it's well-deserved. So congrats to you. And it's a good thing that, that we can't take that away from you, because if we could, I would do my best to try to take that away from you. But once you're in, you're in. So congratulations to you, Ron.
All right. Russ Roberts saying, I hope Bobby D and the Big Tex get into your butt screaming USA. Let's stop Europe.
Yeah. Hey. Robert, if you really want to know the truth, I think that Bobby D and the Big Texan have both been comfortable underneath my Saudi flag after we beat them and I draped it over their lifeless bodies. It was amazing. So, the only flag that I'm gonna be using on when it comes to them is going to be a Saudi flag. And that Saudi flag, I've been carrying it for just about 2 years now. That Saudi flag has some red in it. It's got some blood on it. And I always said once I took over SICW that what I was going to do is I was going to change the colors of the logo. I was going to go ahead and leave the red, but I was going to change the SIC to Saudi green and white. And I was going to leave that red as a representation of the blood that was shed on that flag by Gary Jackson, by Big Tex, and by Bobby D, by all of the people that we steamrolled in SICW. But, we'll have to work on that later.
You have to work on it much later. Who would you like to bring into SICW as part of your group?
Gosh,
devastation.
and you're talking. Are you talking anywhere across the board?
Anybody across the United States?
Anybody across the board?
Independent.
I independent. I've always fancied myself by being able to surround myself by tough guys. I mean, as you can see, Peyton Harris, Uber Destroyer, Lilith Khan, Barbarian, Haku, all those guys. I've always been able to surround myself with tough guys. I think that if there was a guy that I would want to bring into, and this is a curveball for you guys, but I've worked against this guy numerous times, and I think when it comes down to being as tough as they get, I don't think they get any tougher than this guy. And he's never been to Sicw, but I don't know why we haven't made that happen yet. But there's a guy that works out of Texas and North Missouri that I absolutely just think is a stud. He goes by the name of Moonshine Mantell. That guy is just a stud. He is so intense. I think he would be a perfect fit for what we're doing at Sicw. But so if there's any independent star on in the country that I would like to manage, I'd just love to be able to mold Moonshine's career. Are you familiar with Moonshine?
No, I'm not.
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to look him up now.
Yes, you will have to look him up.
Him and the Uber Eats guy. I mean Uber Destroyer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Another guy that I have that I've been managing as of late that I think is just a damn good athlete is the King of Thick Style, Sam Stackhouse. That guy right there is
I've heard of him.
Yes. I managed him here in Springfield, Missouri, Crane, Missouri, Arkansas, Topeka, Kansas. I've managed him 5 or 6 times, and that guy, every time I see that guy, he just impresses me like you wouldn't believe. I mean, that guy is so agile. He's like 550 pounds, but just agile as
Wow.
they get. He does the spinning wheel kick. I swear, every time I see it, I just think to myself, like he's not supposed to move like that. But yeah, somebody like that would be stellar. I'd have a big bruiser like that on my squad here in Devastation Incorporated. In fact, I may have to give Sam a call after this and talk to him and see what he's doing on the 16th.
I know we've been trying to get him on as well here on Beyond the Barricade. And before you ask, no, Beyond the Barricade is not for sale.
Oh, well, I tell you what, I might put in a phone call to Sam, and you'd probably be surprised how quick he calls you back. Because if I know Sam, he probably isn't returning your phone calls. But, it would just take one phone call from Stephen E. to tell Sam, you need to pick up the phone. You need to call Papa Dink. You need to get scheduled for this podcast because it's good for business. And he would do it.
It is good for business. Did you see my intro? You see who I've been talking to recently?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I even saw a little snippet of me. But I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't. The whole segment was like 90 seconds or no 30 seconds. It was 30 seconds.
No, the whole thing is like a minute and 17 seconds.
A minute and 17 seconds.
It's a lot of people to fit in.
Why am I only going to be in there for like 3 seconds? You got a minute. You got an extra minute and 16 seconds that you could fit me in there. So here's a suggestion, Papa Dink.
Go ahead.
Me in the beginning.
Put her.
Run me for 30 seconds. Just me for 30 seconds. Then go ahead and run a couple of other people, but cut their times down from 3 seconds to 1 second, and then I'll come back in about 50 seconds. Run me for another 20 seconds.
So you think I should cut Bob Orton?
Well, of course, yeah. Bob, what's that guy done? What has that guy done?
A lot for the business.
No, you know what? I owe Bob one. Bob, that son of a
gun.
That son of a gun, yes. I actually am going to tell you this because I think that things would have went a little bit different back in November when we had our match for Sicw. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but they actually handcuffed me to Bob Orton, and he was the enforcer for that match. So it really wasn't fair. I wasn't able to get up and like coach my guys and stuff like that. Bob, every time I tried to move, Bob just pulled me back down. And I tell you what, I don't really care much for Bob, but there was one thing that I will not do is I will not backtop Bob in front of it. You see. I mean, he wears a cast all the time, right? I'm not trying to.
that injury's not healing well.
No, it's not. It's like 40 years, 50 years in the making too. It's like if it's not healed by now, it's not going to heal.
It's not going to heal.
No, I don't think so.
You might need to see our surgeon.
Yeah. But I thought I saw the big Texan on here earlier today too.
He was here the other day, and he's excited about FanFest, and he's a big collector. He collects action figures.
Oh, does he? Oh, no, I didn't know that. I fancy myself a bit on being a bit of a collector myself.
Oh, what do you collect?
Shoot, what don't I collect, man? I collect anything that money can buy. I've got most of the LJNs. I'm missing a handful of black cards. And see, that's how I know what I'm talking about. Is you heard what I said? I'm missing a couple of black cards. Yeah. Only the real collectors are going to know what I'm talking about. I don't do Hasbros or anything like that. But over the years, working with different people, I've gotten gifted. What are they called? Elites, because a lot of the guys that we work with nowadays, they'll come in and, they'll have some elites and they'll give me one of the elites. So they'll sign it for me, personalize it and stuff like that. Yeah. But just anything wrestling, I've got a magazine collection that's probably second to none. I had a lady call me one time and she tells me like, hey, I got this magazine collection for, that I want to get rid of. And I had just bought a bunch of magazines off of a guy. So I was like, well, no, I don't think that's, no, you don't understand, young man. If you come pick them up, you can have them. And I went and picked these up and I had them in the back of one of my shops for probably 6-8 months. And we had an autograph signing and I had a friend that was there helping with the autograph signing. He asked me about the barrel that I had. He goes, hey, is that those magazines? I said, yeah. And he opened them up and there was, Papa Dank, there was magazines from the 40s, brother.
Really?
Like Japanese newspapers, a whole bunch of like slides from the 70s. I got a Alpha and Sicw promo picture from 60s probably.
Wow.
A lot of cool stuff like that. Like right now, I'm looking at an old flyer from Saturday, February 2nd. Memorial Coliseum, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I think we dated it, and it's like 1957. But listen to who is the main event for the show. You got Big Bob Orton versus the Alaskan. Tiny Mills and Jack Mills versus Scott or Pat O'Connor and Sonny Myers. I just like old stuff like that. I've got a couple of old Subway posters from like Halloween Havoc and stuff like that are really, 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 really
That's
rare.
Cool.
And I like some of the older rare stuff is what I collect. So if anybody's got some old rare stuff, get at me. Let me holler at you.
All right. You like to collect masks as well?
No, I don't do the masks. No, I don't do the masks so much. I think I have one or two of them around somewhere, but it's not anything that I'm after. Like, it's not me.
I picked up a Penta mask and
did you?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this since you like stuff that's really cool. I picked up a framed poster. It was like a Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble before the pandemic, that hung in the old WWE headquarters.
Oh, nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of stuff right there that would pop me,
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that I like.
There was a guy that I met who was from Connecticut, and he had he took a whole bunch of stuff because they were giving it away, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Like just giving the stuff away to people.
Yeah.
And he had like a Miz chair that was used on TV.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. That
was pretty cool.
I would say if I had to put my finger on the gem of my collection, I have an MOC, a mint on card, Harley Race LJN figure autographed. And that like people ask me all the time, they're like, what do you want for it? And I'm like, the conversation doesn't even start unless there's a 2000 in front of it, and it's just, you're never going to get one like that again. I years ago, the Harley figure just without an autograph or anything was like $1,200. And whenever I say this thing is in mint condition, like it's in mint condition. Yeah. But I
really thought a Harley variant at WrestleMania.
I did, I saw that. Yep, I seen that. I had never heard of the big rubber guys until they started pushing that Harley figure around. And
someone got me one.
Did you? Nice, man. So you got one of the Harleys?
Yeah, I got one of those bloody ones.
The blood variants, yeah.
It
Yeah.
sold out in 10 minutes.
I know.
10 minutes are all gone.
Attila, of course, Attila, he is a Harley graduate. He trained under Harley, so any cool Harley stuff, he'll always try to find and get. So
they got a Bruiser Brody coming. Did you see that?
Yeah, yep. Now did they already have a Bruiser out, or did they just announce him?
No, they got it out. As a matter of fact, he's on pre-order. So the way they work, major. So they give you a certain time to pre-order it, and then after that, they don't make any more. Right. So whatever they have left, they'll put it up on the site, but they really don't have that much left. So
I tell you what, it's kind
of. We
got
funny. Like a week.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because sometimes you'll see those old LJNs hit the secondary market, or you'll see them, and they have the little Kmart tag where they clearance go out, and they'll be like $3, $3.97 or something like that. When I looked at those big rubber guys, I was like, man, they're getting $54 a pop for those things. But I'm not gonna lie, like I need to go through there and probably order me 6 or 7 of them. I'm a huge fan of any of the LJN style. In fact, if you guys want a custom LJN, anybody listening out there, there's a gentleman by the name of Sicw. He wrestled in the WWE.
I know. I met him.
Oh yeah, great guy, man. Great guy. He does some of the best custom 3D prints that I've ever seen. I mean, they look just like the LJNs. And in fact, my first year going out to Cauliflower, he was out there and he had his all of the stuff displayed, and I was like, man, I've got to get one. And they're really not that bad when you consider it's a custom figure. A couple $100 and you got your figure. I think it may even not even be that. I think it may be like 125. But it's great to be able to do it. I've got one somewhere around here. I don't know where it is right now, but I've got one. And I've had a couple of friends that got one, and a lot of people that know me through the shows know that I have a driver that drives me pretty much everywhere that I go. And a couple of last year I went ahead and got him one, LJN, figure for him. And a couple years ago, I got one for a promoter out of St. Louis that just fell in love with them. Awesome. It's great. Yeah. But yeah, if anybody's out there wanting their very own custom, custom LJN, hit up Sicw, man. He's got a pretty quick turnaround too for being a completely custom figure. Usually 2-3 weeks, I think, is what it takes to get it in. And, man, it's phenomenal. It's great. But yeah. Yeah, no, and again, when it comes to collecting, man, I like a new thing that I think that I want to start getting into is like maybe collecting some of the ring worn gear. I've got one piece right now that I picked up a few years ago that's pretty cool. It's I believe it's made by a company called Henderson, which is the company that made his singlets for years, but it's a Jerry the King Lawler, singlet. Yeah. Yeah. And, there's a little backstory on that I won't go into. God rest Bert Prentice's soul, but Bert sold it to me, and then he wanted it back, and, passed away before I could get it back to him. So, never got a chance to get it back to him, but, heck of a guy, man. Heck of a guy.
Yeah. That's a great piece to own. I know someone who owns a trunk of Macho Man's from one of the WrestleManias.
God, man, how cool would that be to have?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. You always see those memes on the internet or on social media that says, if I win the lottery, I won't tell anybody. There'll be signs. You walk in and you walk into most wrestling fans' house. You walk into $1
million on wrestling memorabilia.
Oh yeah. Like legit, go get $1 million belt made. Wouldn't that be something else?
I think the best collection that I've seen is from Conrad Thompson. He collects like the actual belts.
Yeah.
Like the titles.
Yeah,
like the OGs.
And no, they're the ring worn. Ring worn belts, and some of those belts are insane. We were down in Jonesboro, Arkansas last year for the Memphis Fan Fest. What it was, Mid-States Wrestling put it on down there, and Dave Milliken showed up, and Dave Milliken had the original big gold, and somebody had said something, and Papa, whenever I tell you this thing is like, I mean it looks like it's been on the road for, for 40 years or whatever. Cause it
Right.
just, it was dilapidated. But, somebody had said something and I was just kind of standing in the vicinity and he's like, yeah, I'd take 125,000 for it, and it's like, holy smokes, man. I talked to him. I did a show down in Tennessee, a number of years ago. Rock and Roll Express were there. JJ Dillon was there, for Greg Anthony, and down in Dyersburg. And, I got a chance to talk to him. And, on a personal level, I do a lot of moving with metals. I sell a lot of gold and silver and buy a lot of it and stuff like that. And, I've always been like, I've always wanted to make a championship belt out of solid silver. And I look at it and I'm like, well, heck, if I can go make the plates and stuff and put 400 or 500 ounces into this belt, no matter what, the belt's going to be worth its weight in silver. So it's always, and plus, so I talked to Dave about it and he was telling me, he's like, it would just be tough because, something about the people that were doing his plates, like maybe their factory caught on fire or something, and that he would go to an acid etching guy, but he said that with silver being silver, he said that you would just lose too much of it in the process. So I never ended up doing it. But yeah, dude, I wanted to get me a big gold made out of not 925, because the original was made out of 925. I wanted it to be 999, but it never materialized. So Dave, if you're watching, hit me up, man. Let's get this done. I want to get that made, man.
I bought a long time ago a WWE version of it on the shop, and I just restarted belt collecting recently, but I was lucky enough to get it signed by Iron Sheik.
Oh, nice, man.
So it's got like four signatures: Sheik, Goldberg's, Booker T, and Flair's.
Yeah. Sheik, of course, he's kind of the oddball. I don't think he ever won that belt, but you got to get Sheik's autographs.
It has to be Sheik.
Remember that bit that John C. Riley's like, well, if you're at the airport and you run into Randy, what is the guy from American Idol, and you have a sword, of course you have him sign your sword, like you have him sign whatever you can get him to sign,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of I think I've got one Sheik autograph. I've got an autograph like Funko Pop, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
But you know what I always giggled about the Sheik. Anytime I ever seen his autograph on anything, God bless him, man. But that guy signs like a 2-year-old kid. He has the worst handwriting in the world. It's like, do I want to do this? Because I don't want to take the value away from the box, but yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, God rest him, man. He was something else, dude. Like I was just watching some like Howard Stern stuff after he retired from wrestling. Man, he was just entertaining, wasn't he? I mean,
he was.
I just just give him an open microphone and tell him to go, and it's like I can only imagine trying to get that guy off of the mic, get that guy off of anything. That guy was so much talent, man. Like he was so quick. A lot of people give Bobby Heenan, a lot of credit for his quick wit, but they don't give Iron Sheik enough credit for his quick wit. He was witty, man. Like if you ever hear him in any of these podcasts or any of these, like shoot videos, man, he's witty. He's really, 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 really witty, and plus, dude, I love it that here we are, 40 years later, and we still don't know if there was real heat between like Hogan and Sheik. It's like if you listen to Sheik, Sheik's like, he's like, he hated him,
Right.
If you listen to Hogan kind of, it's like, okay, like, like what's going on here? Masters of kayfabe here, but did you ever see that video where Iron Sheik was at like he was at like an autograph signing, and he bumped into the Warrior, and Warrior, like I guess he went up to shake Warrior's hand, and Warrior didn't shake his hand, which these old school guys, that's a huge
disrespect.
That's a huge disrespect to him. And he went down, he sat down for a second, and he started to sign autographs, and then like just gets up and walks over to Warrior and just lights him up. And now given, Sheik wasn't in the best of shape at this point, he's kind of waddling or whatever. I think he may have had a cane, but you could tell that Warrior didn't want none, nothing to do with him. It's like you could almost sense it. And the promoter actually came up to Sheik and was apologizing to Sheik, like, I'm sorry. And Sheik actually slapped the promoter or the guy that was doing it, and you did this to me. It's actually pretty damn entertaining because he was a legit tough guy, man. You didn't mess around with Sheik, because if you did and he didn't like it, he'd put you in your place.
Put you in your place,
Yeah. There's
Good
a
stuff.
story there's a story that the Undertaker told that I heard a couple of weeks ago about them traveling together, and Taker woke up at like 3 a.m. to a cold room, and he's outside on the balcony, stark naked, with his little Persian clubs, doing Hindu squats is what he was doing, and he's like, what the hell? But just tough, man. Anybody that has ever tried those Persian clubs can tell you, man, those things weren't easy. They're not made to be easy. They're made to be strong. And the way that he would get out there on TV and just do it, man, that was a testament to just how badass that guy.
Yeah. Some of the other wrestlers tried and they couldn't.
No, that's legit. That was a legit thing. They couldn't do it, man. But yeah, man. I would have loved to manage Iron Sheik back in the day. When I think back to people that I would have loved to manage, he would have definitely been one of them that I would have loved. I would have loved to manage Sergeant Slaughter during his heel turn of 91, 92.
Yeah,
and I would have loved to have been a part of that. A couple of years ago, I got a phone call and for a show that was going to go down at the MAC, the Missouri Athletics Club, which is a freaking gorgeous building, just absolutely gorgeous. But we were bringing Sergeant Slaughter in, maybe Tito Santana and another one or two people. And I got a call and they said, hey, we want, it was a last minute deal for me. They called me on like a Monday and said, hey, can you be here on like a Thursday? It was an odd week show. And I had prior engagements, but they after I told them I couldn't do it, they were telling me who's going to be there. And I hung up the phone and literally was just like, God, man, I couldn't get out of what I was doing, but I was like, I could only imagine the magic that I would make with that guy, whether it be him as a heel or him as a face. I mean, like we could have really did some cool stuff. And I ran into him last year at the Fan Fest and talked to him for a minute in Gimmick. And, it would have been something. It would have been something else to be able to share that moment with him.
That's awesome. All right, Stephen E. This year, what's your goal for the year?
My goal for this year right now, a lot of people, they want to say what they want to say. I don't care what they want to say. My goal is to walk in there and defeat Greg Anthony, two-time former AIWF World Heavyweight Champion. I want my guy to go in there and I want him to beat Greg Anthony, because when you go in and you beat a two-time world champion, guess what happens? People start to take notice. People start to think, hey, this guy right here, is he lining up for a World Heavyweight Championship, match? And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get Attila Khan a World Heavyweight Championship match, and it starts at Fan Fest on the 17th. Whenever we go through and we steamroll Golden Boy Greg Anthony, and like I said, downtown Bruno, you better keep your nose away from me. Stay out of my business. Don't even come near me. All you need to do is just sit in the corner like a good boy and console Greg Anthony and comfort him after we beat him. But once we do that, then that's just the stars are gonna be aligned. We're going to be ready for a World Heavyweight Championship match. And you never know. The next time you hear Attila's name, it may be accompanied with World Heavyweight Champion behind it.
Wow. All right, everybody. Get your tickets for FanFest at sicw.org. The big event coming up, FanFest 3 from SICW in St. Louis, Missouri. Get your tickets now. Stephen E., let everybody know where they can follow you.
Hey, you can follow me at Stephen E. on Facebook. I'm an old timer, so I don't do anything but the Facebook. I don't have anybody that does my social media stuff or any of that stuff, because, if you want to get a hold of me, you want to talk to me, you know how to find me. People that really know me know how to find me. Even if you don't know me, you can probably find me, but it's simple. Just go to Steven Espinoza on Facebook. Send me a request. I'll gladly take it. But the moment that you start reporting me for stuff, that's when it's over. You know who I'm talking about, Aaron Wallace. You know I'm talking about you. I'll get rid of you like yesterday's garbage.
Yeah, he's got some stuff to say in the chat. All right. As for me so far next week, man, we got a huge guest next week, bud. Are you ready for this one?
I mean, who's your guest?
This Tuesday coming up, the one, the only from WCW, Sonny Ono coming on the podcast this Tuesday,
Okay.
8
Okay.
p.m. We have the
Get
Chosen
behind that.
Tryouts coming out Saturday,
Okay.
May 17th in New Jersey. I know how much you want to come to New Jersey.
Man.
The Chosen One Tryouts. For more information, go to TinyChampionshipWrestling.com. And of course, this Saturday, Grandmaster of the Mat from NYWC. Get your tickets, NYWC Pro Wrestling. Drew Gulak will be in the house, and I will be in attendance with my 23-6 championship, Steven.
Oh, man. Well, you better get through that day because I'm telling you, Papa Dank, come the Fan Fest, we're going to have to figure out how to remotely do something so I can win that championship. I want that belt. And you know me good enough to know that if you don't want to sell it to me, then I'm going to take it from you.
Oh, man, just keep Attila away from me. All right, coming up after that is Rise of the Titans from Titan Championship Wrestling. PJ Savage, the TCW champion, goes against all-in-one Michael Fain. Finally, after months and months of anticipation, these Titans go to war at Rise of the Titans. Get your tickets at TitanChampionshipWrestling.com. And then on July 12th, NYWC presents Rising Stars Women's Wrestling. Legit Layla Hirsch will be in action, as well as, let me bring her up. Nope. Where's the other one? Oh, I lost it. There it is. Zoe Sky will be in attendance as well. More names coming out this coming week.
Gosh, and front row are only $40. $40 for front row. Are you kidding me? Everybody remembered that show that happened last Sunday and Saturday. I heard tickets were somewhere in the neighborhood for floor seats, $30,000.
Some show in Vegas, right?
For some show in Vegas, yeah, some mud show that runs in Vegas, every now and then. But for $40 you can catch that. That sounds like a bargain to me.
And wait till you see who we got coming.
Who?
Well, I can't tell you now.
Well, I'm gonna have to find out. I'm gonna do some digging, Papa Dank. I'm gonna do some digging. A women's tournament. Who knows? You may see Lilith show up. Show up with Lilith.
This is a legit new federation forming from NYWC, Rising Star Women's Wrestling, the first women's wrestling promotion in Long Island.
Really? Okay. Yes. Well, there would be nothing that would make me more proud than to watch Lilith Khan go in and win the championship or win a tournament, whatever it takes, and be crowned the first ever Long Island women's wrestling champion. Wouldn't that be something else? We could come back to the Midwest and we could gloat and talk about how we are taking over.
Here we go. All right, everybody. Have a great night, Stevie D. Hold on for a second. I'll see y'all next week with